Hey guys, welcome to your last week of school. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. I can't believe we're already here. It flew by. I'm so sad we couldn't be together and say goodbye to each other, but I will hunt you down next year in high school. I will find you and we will say hi and catch up and stuff. So don't worry, I will find you. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is kind of a piggyback off of the Pythagorean theorem, because the Pythagorean theorem is so important. Now we're going to talk about the converse. So the converse of the Pythagorean theorem is used to determine whether a set of three numbers forms a right triangle, an acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle. So we ended last week with talking about Pythagorean triples and determining if a triangle was a right triangle. So we know how to tell if this triangle is right or not. Well, now we can go even further and determine, hey, is this triangle an acute triangle? Or is it an obtuse triangle? Like, what's going on with it? So this kind of extends on what we were doing last week. So there's not really much new to it other than you're classifying it as an acute, obtuse, or right triangle. So here's the dealio. If c squared is greater than a squared plus b squared, then the triangle is obtuse, which makes sense, right? Because the obtuse angle is one that's greater than 90 degrees. It's an angle, that's kind of a bad example. It's an angle that's open and it's got greater than 90 degrees. If c squared is less than a squared plus b squared, then it is acute. It's a cute little baby angle. So it's a little angle. It's less than 90 degrees. If c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, then it is right, which y'all already learned this last week. It makes a perfectly right angle. That's it. That's all that's new this week. We're taking it easy on you since it's your last week of school. That's how much I love you. Okay, so it says determine what type of angle is formed by each set of numbers. So this time they're not giving us a picture, they're giving us numbers. Again, we always know that the biggest number is our hypotenuse. It's the big and chunky side. So the other two are our legs. So we need to determine our two legs, 12 squared plus 16 squared. We need to determine what goes here. Is it going to be greater than, less than, or equal to 18 squared? Well, what I do is I put this in my calculator. So I put 12 squared plus 16 squared in the calculator. 12 squared plus 16. What happened to my calculator? Oh my goodness. What do we got going on? Here we go. 12 squared plus 16 squared equals 400. Well, then I also need to know what 18 squared is, because that's on the other side. 18 squared is, calculator's being so slow, 324. So when I go back over here, oops, wrong button. When I go back over here, 324, well, if I look at it, 400 is greater than 324. So I'm going to draw a greater than sign. Well, what do we say up here? So a squared plus b squared is greater. A squared plus c squared is greater. So it's an acute angle. And if you're looking at it, I've got it written backwards. They've got their C on the left. I've got my C on the right. So that's why if you're like, oh, it looks obtuse because of the sign, it's because I've got it switched around. This is my a squared plus b squared and c squared. So that's why. Okay, let's do it again. Again, hypotenuse is the biggest one, so it's 26. And I've got 10 squared plus 24 squared. We need to determine what goes here. 26 squared. Sorry, I had to grab my charger. Okay, so I go to my calculator, and I'm going to plug in 10 squared plus 24 squared and I get 676. And then 26 squared, my C, is 676. So goes here. Well, 676 is equal to 676. So when it's equal, it's right. Ta-da. Told you it wouldn't be too bad. Pretty easy today. Okay, biggest one again is 24.4. So I've got 12.8 squared plus 24 squared. We got to figure out what goes here. 24.4 squared. I'm guessing a plus b is bigger because I've got a 24 plus 12.8 squared. Like there's no way it equals, but we'll see. Okay, 12.8 squared plus 24 squared equals 739.84. 24.4 squared is, dun, 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 moment of truth, 595.36. So obviously this side's bigger. So a plus b is bigger, and when a plus b is bigger, it's an acute. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Biggest side is 15. So I've got 4.2 squared plus 14.2 squared equals 15 squared. They're really nice, and they're giving you these in order from least to greatest of the numbers. Don't expect that. They're not always going to do that. They don't like to put them in order. But today they're being nice on the notes. That's nice of them. Okay, 4.2. What happened to my 4? 4.2 squared plus 14.2 squared equals 219.28. And then we have to do 15 squared, which hopefully y'all all know what 15 squared is. Do we all know that? That's one of ours that we learned. So no, and 225 is greater. So now I've got my C is greater. C is greater. So when I go up here and look, well, we said if C is greater, it's an obtuse. It's a big fat angle. So if I go back, I'm going to write obtuse. Number next, I've got 15 squared plus 15 squared equals 20 squared. I go to my calculator. 15 squared plus 15 squared equals 450. Now we gotta figure out what's 20 squared is 400. So if I go back here, 450 is greater than, probably should be doing this different color so you can see, is greater than 400. So if a plus b is greater, then it's an acute. Okay, number last. Oh my gosh, last problem you'll ever have to work with me. So sad. Come back and see me, please. I miss you all so much already. Okay, so I've got 16 squared plus 24 squared. We gotta figure out what goes here. 30 squared. Handy dandy calculator. Gotta love calculators, right? Plus 24 squared equals 832. And then 30 squared is dun, 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 900. So I've got 900 is greater than 832. So since my C is greater, it's an obtuse. And there it is, y'all. Your last problem worked with Miss Miller. I know, sad moment. I will miss you all. But seriously, if y'all have any questions, let me know. I'll be on Zoom. Come say hi. Come see me. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, y'all.